As things change, other things stay the same, like Ohio Lottery scratch-offs. From small tickets to big tickets, from bright colors to flashy themes. There's something for everyone. Big wins make big stories, but it's the millions of small wins every day that make life-changing memories. And your biggest win will come by following the state-recommended safety protocols during this special holiday season. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel Abraham, joined by Damon McDonald. It was only a few days ago that we spoke, Damon. We were on Wrestling Omakase with the great John Carroll and Rich Craich and Joe Lancer from the Voices Wrestling flagship, reviewing the New Japan's 2020. I've started off plugging someone else's podcast. This is remarkable stuff, but very heated episodes, Damon. Obviously, we've had our differences in opinion over the booking in New Japan with the flagship boys. It did get very ugly at the end there, didn't it? I mean, personally, I think Rich insulting my family and Joe berating you and reducing you to tears was going a bit too far.
I think so. I need professional help at this point to get over that verbal beatdown. No, of course not. We're just kidding, of course. That was a fun show. I really enjoyed it. There are times where I just don't want to talk about pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I do it 2 hours a week, and that's good for me. That gets it out of me. But I was actually looking forward to it. Shocking, and then actually having it happen was one. It was quite a miracle in itself from the scheduling department, right? And then I don't know. I just think that all of us have a real nice chemistry and a nice. And it's hard to do because you have lots of personalities and lots of opinions and a little bit of ego in there as well, right? So it's, everybody wants to get their shit in. It's like a wrestling match almost. And John's got to referee that. But if you haven't already, I don't know when it's going to be released, probably soon, be either A, on the lookout for it, or get on it. Because I think it's a fun, interesting, thought-provoking pro wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling deep dive in 2020. And you may not like the opinions, you may disagree with the opinions, you may agree. But I think it's going to get you something juiced up, fired up for some boring holidays where you'll probably be sitting alone. Hey, why not listen to some pro wrestling experts, huh? Right? Why not listen to the all-star team of podcasts get in on New Japan Pro Wrestling? And I think it's a real solid couple of hours that you'll have listening to us blabber on about New Japan.
Yeah, it's really high-level, thoughtful debate and discussion there. And I was talking about this with Rich, just putting back the curtains a bit, that this year the products are so divisive that sometimes you get bogged down in these silly little, the differences of opinion that when you take a step back and think about it, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of nerds arguing about Japanese pro wrestling. But when you have put as much time and effort into covering a product like New Japan as we do, and then you see other people, other voices that you look up to and you respect their opinions, and you see them criticizing this thing that you spent so much time covering, it's hard not to. It sounds really weird saying it, but take it a bit personally, which is ridiculous saying that out loud, because we don't book the product. It's got nothing to do with us. We just talk about it. But you kind of feel that instincts that you have to kind of defend the products, but not in a disingenuous way. If we think something's bad, we say it's bad. But do you see what I'm saying here? You get that bit of tribalism, and then little digs at each other on Twitter or Discord or whatever. And at the end of the day, you just have to take a step back and realize that, well, one, when you talk about these things, you know, orally?
You can do it.
I'm looking for. I was going to say face to face, but it's not face to face, is it? If you're doing it over.
If we turn on our camera, it would have been.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting episode. I think the listeners will enjoy it a lot.
I liked it a lot. I really did. And, you know, even with us, it's, you know, sometimes you kind of know the take that Joel's going to take, and you know the take that Damon's going to take, and you kind of, but then you throw in a little mix of other opinions, and, you know, sometimes it makes you think a little bit differently, and sometimes it makes you see things that maybe you didn't see before, or recognize something. So, again, to me, I think it's a must listen. If I were a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling and I, didn't do this podcast, I think I would be salivating at the thought of it. So, I can't recommend it enough. I think it was really good. Some surprises in there, some surprise opinions, and I just think we all have very good chemistry. I think, and that's hard to do, especially with 5 personalities, all trying to get their shit in.
But more importantly, it's the holiday season. This is going to be our last episode before Christmas. So if you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you and your loved ones are doing over the break. I've got my little festive drink here. I say it's a festive drink. It's a cream soda flavoured Pepsi Max, which has no connection to Christmas whatsoever, but it is very nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the holidays.
Me too. It's going to be a little bit different, as with everything. Usually we go down to Baltimore and see our good friend Gabby and her family, and we do a real festive Christmas Eve. It's really just it's one of my favorite days. If I talked about Wrestle Kingdom last year being, one of my favorite days of the year, Christmas Eve is one. Unfortunately, that is on hold, so we will be at home. But I did get the tenderloin, Joel. Just FYI, it's sitting in the fridge right now, and it is ready to go. So beef Wellington for Christmas Eve. We'll see how we make out there.
Well, we have got plenty to talk about with New Japan this week. A few little news tidbits here. We've got a Stardom match also announced for Wrestle Kingdom, just like last year. Do you expect this one to be a world? Obviously, the last one wasn't because of the political conflict between the two products, New Japan and Stardom, being owned by rival TV networks. So do you think we're going to see that one making tape? And are you surprised that we didn't see more collaboration between New Japan and Stardom in 2020?
A little bit. I think when you talk about thinking outside the box, this was the year that the company, at least it felt like it from a booking perspective, that they were willing to take those risks. Do I know 100% if the Stardom match will be aired? I don't. I would lean toward probably not, because of those TV deals. But don't be surprised if you do see it. I just haven't heard anything either way. Do we even know the match yet?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. What are we expecting? Tags?
Yeah, multi-person tag match, I would expect.
That wasn't bad last year. They gave them 5 minutes, and I think they went out there and tore down the house. It'll be good. Whoever they decide to put in the dome, they're going to have their working boots on. They're going to want to impress, and they're going to want to turn some heads. So I hope it does get aired. I hope they're able to work that out. Again, 2020. I think everybody would listen. Nobody's going to fucking be like, what the hell is this? If you are, it'll be good. Relax. And the people that want to see it will be excited to see it. Will be happy to see it. To be thrilled to see it. So, I just see it. I just see it a bunch of fucking suits holding it up, and everyone else kind of like, okay, we do want this. No, I can't have a mid-card pro wrestler be in a tag match because they are on my TV that nobody watches. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Just put them the hell on. Who cares? No one cares about that. Fucking, you know what? No, but I don't. No,
and it would benefit them, wouldn't it, to allow that to be seen by all the subscribers in New Japan World. So it seems like a cutting your nose off to spite your face situation. But the complex world of Japanese TV station politics is not one I'm authorized to speak about. So there you go.
I am. I'm absolutely I'm an expert. I did my college thesis on it. I did not. All right. What else we got, Joel? By the way, I do have breaking news.
Yep.
You want my breaking news?
Let's hear it.
All right. I'm just going to give you a quote. People can piece together what this means, but I'm just going to give you a quote from a text I just received at 6:17 a.m. on the East Coast. I was afraid you'd never ask. Laughing emoji. Of course, I would love to. Let me know when. I'm very free next week. What could that mean, Joel Abraham?
Another little festive treat for our listeners. And actually, the idea for that, we need to thank Booze Epcon, thank Nicole for that, because she is the one who's been, well, nudging us for it to happen. Gave me a little reminder, hey, don't forget about this thing.
Here's the thing, it's not like I know, it's one of those things where it's just like the year snuck up on us, and I kind of forgot. And until you reminded me, and then I was like, all right, yeah, we got it. I mean, that's always I'm starting to spoil things a little bit, but yeah. So just know that we're working behind the scenes for all of our listeners. So we'll have a nice little treat before the end of the year, something that maybe tastes a bit familiar, but tastes absolutely delicious. So we're looking forward to that.
Let's have a little chat about some possible incoming Wrestle Kingdom matches that have yet to be confirmed, but we have some Road to Korakuen shows happening at the moment. There's nothing must-see from what I've glanced at. I can't say I've been watching them religiously, but a bit of news trickling through about possible matches that will be announced. A IWGP US briefcase defense. It appears that Juice Robinson will be challenging Kenta. Okay. So I expect we'll see Juice versus Kenta. Probably night one. The reason I say night one is something that has been... Well, I've worked myself into it. I've convinced myself about this, Damon. I'll frame it as a question from Mix or Plix. At this point, does anyone believe Moxley is not showing up at the Dome? Assuming he does, are you guys yay or nay on that experience? And PS, do you feel like if we don't see Renee on camera, assuming that she's in attendance, would you feel like that is a failure on someone in New Japan's part? So let's just stick with this idea of John Moxley, because I've convinced myself, Damon, that he will be appearing. They won't shut up about him. Every time Kenta is in front of a camera, he's just Moxley, and even Juice as well. And New Japan are promoting that. You know, there's graphics all over their social media. All I want for Christmas is Mox. I don't think they would be doing that if there wasn't a real chance of him appearing. So I'm totally convinced myself that January 4th, after that Kenta Juice match is finished, Mox is going to be jumping in the ring to challenge whoever the winner is of that match. Do you feel the same way?
I do, for all the reasons that you just said. I mean, usually silence is the key. But I just right now he's freed up from AEW obligations in the sense of he's not their champion anymore, and he doesn't have to be on AEW TV. It's really about him. And if he wants to sit in a fucking hotel room for 7 days or 14 days or however long it is, that's really it. And if he can bring his lovely wife along with him, that would be key for me if I had to spend 14 days in quarantine or whatever days it is, in a Japanese hotel room or wherever they stay. That doesn't sound like fun. But he's the kind of guy that would do something like that, though. I don't even think I'm 50-50. I think I'll go 70-30 that he's there. I think he's there right now. What do you think of that? I think he's there. And here's the thing. Everybody that we ask, and we have asked, let that be known. We have asked. We have done our journalistic duties. We've gotten a couple I don't knows. We've gotten a flat out no. What else do we get? Do we get anything else? That's it. That's really about it, right? I don't think so's and no's, right? He's there.
Yes, that's correct. You take my silence as agreement and confirmation. We've heard nothing.
Right. We've heard nothing. Exactly. All right. So yeah, I mean that's a good scenario if that does happen. If it doesn't happen, don't blame us. But we're just trying to fucking. We see dots. We do see dots. So when we see dots, we like to draw lines. So let's see if they connect.
Other match I'm expecting to be announced very soon is the IWGP Junior Tag Championship defense with Desperado and Kanemaru defending against Master Huato and Ryusuke Taguchi. I would expect this to be on night 2 because night 1, I believe, already has the tag match, the heavyweight tag match with GOD and Dangerous Tekkers. So is that a match that interests and excites you, Damon? I will say this actually, it's been a long time since Taguchi has been given a proper Wrestle Kingdom match, involving a championship.
He pinned Liger. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember me?
I know, but a title match.
Okay, because remember me just the. I wanted the Tokyo Dome to implode on itself. I couldn't believe it. So mad.
You were so upset you immediately lost consciousness.
Not immediately. It was a little bit shortly after, but it wasn't immediately. You loved kicking me in the balls for that one. That wasn't a good look. I get it. The last thing I do vividly remember is at Mox. No, was it Mox and Archer? I remember Archer coming out. And then I remember...
Yes, I think so. My own memory of the event is somewhat spotty. But, yeah.
And then I do remember you elbowing me in the ribs and being like, yo, Ospreay and Hiromu are coming. And then, no, I don't really remember much of that. And then I remember Okada's entrance and maybe like the last 5 minutes.
Which, funnily enough, that's everyone else's recollection of the match. Because popular opinions to be believed, absolutely nothing happened in the first 20 minutes of it. So you didn't miss anything. You're good, Damon. Sorry, I don't mean to break your balls over that.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, junior tag match. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think we all knew this was due. Here's the thing. I don't think it'll be a bad match. I don't think it'll be a bad match at all. Taguchi can go. I think, again, I hate to bring up Wato being the wild card here, but if Wato just stays out of his own way and hits a couple hot moves, that's all we need from him. We don't need him to carry to be in a fucking 20-minute singles match. Get in and get out. Know your limitations. Just get in and get out. And let everybody else do the heavy lifting. That could be a good match. That could be a good match. I think I'm looking forward to it.
And this is just a little bit of speculation on my part. I suspect we will see a never openweight 6-man gauntlet match. Probably night 1, if I had to guess. Maybe some teams that we could see. Obviously the champions, Ishii, Goto, Yoshihashi. Other teams we might see, maybe Suzuki, Desperado, or Doki, Sanada, Shingo, and Bushi, Chase Owens, Fale, Yujiro, maybe Makabe, Yano Sho. I'm just throwing a few potential names out there, but I always enjoy the never 6-man gauntlets, and it's a way to crowbar everyone else onto the card. So I will be excited if that happens because I've always got a soft spot for those matches.
After the year the Suzuki's had, are you a little disappointed that they don't have anything for the Porter guy? They're going to stick him in a fucking 3-minute gauntlet match?
Well, funny you should say that. I don't know how much to read into this, but he has been challenged by someone in the backstage interviews for these Korakuen shows.
Oh.
Someone has challenged him to a singles match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay. Is it somebody we know?
It is.
Is it someone...
You want to guess? Or should I tell you?
I want to guess. I got to guess.
All right, so I'll give you 3 guesses then.
All right, so it's not anybody he's been in a program with this year, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's a new, fresh face. He has been challenged by...
I mean, you almost nailed it with a new, fresh face thing.
Oh? Like new as in I've come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling? New?
No, new as in... Well, if I say any more, it'll give it away.
Give it away. Nobody cares about me.
Yuya Uemura.
A singles match?
What do you think are the chances of that happening? A young lion getting a singles match with Minoru Suzuki? I mean, we can't read too much into these backstage things because often people just try and spin their own angles to drum up a bit of interest. But what's your thoughts? Is there no smoke without fire, or do you think this is wishful thinking?
I think I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
Sorry, they have done it before actually. At Dominion, if you recall, there was Shota Umino against John Moxley, which started their whole little father-son
friendship.
thing. So there is a precedence for having young lions in singles matches on big shows, but
this is
to
the
have
big
a young
yes.
lion in a singles match at the Tokyo Dome, that's a different matter, isn't it?
Huh. I'm intrigued. Now, if we're looking at traditional New Japan Pro Wrestling booking, the kid's getting squashed. He'll have some nice little fired up spots, but Suzuki is gotch pile driving him through the fucking mat.
Yeah, but I mean, Uemura was booked quite generously in Best of the Super Juniors, and I know that's against juniors, but he's going 15 minutes with top guys in the division. Your Hiromus, your Despies. So, do you think that might make you a bit more optimistic for, obviously Uemura's not going to win, but if it does happen, it might not be the complete 2-minute squash that we might otherwise think it would be. I think the company's really high on Uemura.
Me too. That high though?
Could be a way to, send him off to excursion with a bang.
Pin Suzuki at the Tokyo Dome high?
Not pin him, but I mean, have a relatively competitive match with him.
He'll do that. I think that'll happen. This won't be fucking Road Warriors Mulkey squash. Do you think they have the balls and the guts to have him pin Suzuki? And again, we're speculating on a match that hasn't even been announced yet. But do you think they have the balls to do that? That would be fire. I don't think they have the balls.
The balls to do what?
Make
the match?
No, the match I'm not worried about. To have Suzuki look at the fucking lights at the Tokyo Dome.
No.
The balls
not gonna happen.
All right. I'm looking for big moments here. It's a dome.
If they did. Whew.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Whew. That place would light up. That might be the pop of the fucking night, to be truthful.
That could spark off the Suzuki-gun coup. You'll have Taichi going, all right, Suzuki, you lost to a young lion. That's it. You're not fit to be in charge of this this unit anymore.
Yeah, you lost.
Maybe Suzuki might even end up retiring. They've got big shows coming up early in 2021. Bit of speculation that we might get 1 or 2 people retiring. Who knows?
There's been speculation of him either leaving or retiring or for months, for years, feels like. Again, we have just fantasy booked fucking a year's worth of a program. Oh yeah, we don't even have a match yet. We don't even have an official match yet. But if that does happen, I would be into it. They're going to make that match competitive. And boy, if they had the balls to pull it, I mean, they won't do it. But if they had the balls to fucking do that, that would be. I promise you, that would be pop of the night. That would make some fucking noise in a half-empty building.
And it would not be a random occurrence. I think there would be a lot of significance for that match being made, and it would make waves on both sides for the future of Yuya Uemura and the future of Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, you instantly made a star, though. You instantly made a star. And it's a guy who, okay, he's a young lion, but everybody's kind of penciled him in 3 years of being, okay, he's going to be a fucking player. It's just, all you're doing is hitting fast forward a little bit. I don't know. Do you hurt a guy, though, by doing that? Do you have to let him grow a little bit more? Or do you just fucking put his deep end of the pool, start swimming, kid?
He is, technically speaking, one of the, I don't want to say most accomplished wrestlers, I don't know. That would be wrong. But compared to other promotions, I think if he walks into a lot of other promotions, he is an ace straight away. This is not a rookie who's still learning to run the ropes. He's ready. He's good to go.
How's his hard camera? Can he find a hard camera?
Can he stare at his hands? Can he cut promos on his opponents in the middle of matches?
Send them back down to the dojo. Look, I'm in on it. I've worked myself into a nice fucking froth over this, so I'd be into it. I think that, truth be told, we just booked one of the most exciting aspects of Wrestle Kingdom, and it hasn't even been. It's not even, the ink is not even dry on the match yet. So that's where we're at right now. So I'm in on it, though, Joe. I'm totally in on it if it happens.
Good use of Suzuki. Would you think? Yeah, this is an appropriate and intelligent way of utilizing a guy who can still go. There's still excellent wrestling. He's had a really good year, but obviously in the twilight of his career. Would you think, that's a great way to use him at Wrestle Kingdom?
100%, because here's the thing. Okay, so Suzuki gets the win. And, you know what I mean? Okay, you're right. You literally haven't moved. I'm sorry I said literally, but you haven't moved an inch. You haven't moved in any direction. You're just, okay, Suzuki got a win over a guy who technically he was supposed to get a win over. Next match, you forget about it 10 seconds after it's done. With this, you've created a star and probably got the pop of the night. And now you got a future program of, Suzuki's lost a step, and Suzuki-gun now looking at their leader like, well, what the fuck was that? What are you doing? What's going on with you, old man? And now you got to...
Imagine being the person to propose that match to Suzuki. Right, Minoru, sit down. We've got a match for you at Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, yeah. It's a big singles match. Uh-huh. You're going to be losing in this one. Oh, okay. Who's it against? Well... Right.
I like the way that when you do that, you have a nice cadence when you do your little one-act plays. I love it. You should do more of them. Can you do more one-act plays, please? I love it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try and work with a few in the future.
Like scenarios. I love it. You know what, though? Here's the thing. I think Suzuki... I don't think he would be that upset with that. Like, he would... I don't think he would be...
It might even be his idea, no?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely happening. It's official. Yuya Uemura is beating Minoru Suzuki clean in the middle of the ring.
Right. Clean the sheet.
Tokyo Dome.
Yep. What are we on? Acid?
Now that is confirmed. I think it was Suzuki's idea, and I think it's a good move.
Right. And I think that he went to New Japan and had it all written out in a notebook, and he gave it over. He just like throws it down on the table. He's like, "I got your Wrestle Kingdom."
And they're like, "No, Minoru, you were going to be in the title picture. We were going to have you and Jay and Naito and Ibushi." He's like, "No, fuck that noise.
It's not worth it.
This is what's happening."
Oh, fuck us. Well, look, we spent 20 minutes on something that by this time next week, it's Suzuki versus whatever.
Eight-man tag team match.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I hope it does. Okay, another interesting thing, if you're ready to move on, Damon.
Yeah.
Remember last week we were talking about the Tokyo Sports Awards, and I said that Shoe Pro magazine has maybe a bit more of an accurate indicator for who's getting over and who the top stars of the company are. So they give their MVP for all the Japanese wrestling promotions. Did you see who they awarded their New Japan MVP of the year to?
I did not. Who was that?
It was Evil.
I'm sorry. I thought you said Evil.
You heard correct. Takaki Watanabe, Evil, New Japan Pro Wrestling Most Valuable Player for 2020.
Well, I think that's a shitty fucking pick. Most valuable player. I'm sorry. No, I would not. I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that. How could you give him an MVP? Like on what grounds? That he won the title and held it for 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a touch of kayfabe to this.
Okay,
but
all right. Listen,
well, there you go. he's popular. This is the thing. Like we were talking about on Omakase, there's obviously and understandably a disconnect between wrestlers who are popular and getting over with the fans in Japan and their connection with the foreign audience, and this is one of them. So more evidence to my bold claim that this is a character, a wrestler, and a storyline that is big in Japan.
Yes, it is. Also, Alphaville is big in Japan. Nobody's going to. Maybe some people will get that. As I mentioned on John Carroll's wonderful roundtable discussion, I don't think people hate Evil as much as they hate the way Evil is booked. In the sense of if Evil came in there and was just like a fucking monster and beat the shit out of people and tossed bodies around and became this badass that we all hoped he would be, I don't think people would have half the complaints. I think the problem is the way that he was utilized, and that's the biggest challenge of making Evil an MVP. Like, but yes, maybe we are pro wrestling illustrating it, if you know what I'm saying.
Tomorrow, of course, we've got the huge match, the KOPW 2020 final match, which will be Toru Yano defending against Bad Luck Fale. And the polls have been closed, Damon. It is going to be a body slam / turnbuckle pad removal match. So the first wrestler to either body slam his opponent or remove all 4 turnbuckle pads will win the match. But also, not only is this for KOPW 2020, this is for the lineal ace title, which of course Bad Luck Fale is the holder. So high stakes there, Damon. Well, I was going to say looking forward to this. This should be a fun match.
I mean, we're taking like what are they, the bull rope matches and the strap matches where you have to touch all 4 turnbuckles that usually stink, and we're making it worse because we're removing the strap and we're removing the bull rope. We're just having them remove turnbuckles. Ugh. And then a body slam. This company sometimes. God damn.
So when Okada was in that press conference unveiling this big idea and saying this title harkens back to history as a title that exists on the edge of New Japan, please look forward to it. Do you think this is what he had in mind? Toru Yano and Bad Luck Fale having a body slam turnbuckle pad removal match.
Oh my God. I might want to watch it just to see how they pull this fucking thing off. I know we try to not do it, but I always push us back into the lake. Give me an over under on stars.
From whom?
From you.
It depends who you ask. From me?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's the laugh test. If it makes me laugh, then
Right.
The Yano match is a success. So instead of stars, I think we should
How
say
many laughs?
chuckles.
How many belly
chuckles?
laughs? Yes.
Audible laughs is it going to get from me?
Yeah. Set the over under. I'm going to set the over under.
2.5.
Oh, 2.5 is a good number. 2.5 is a good number. I'm taking the under. 2.5. You know what it is? It's that half laugh that you're not going to get. You might get 2 laughs, but you're asking me to now give you a hello, I'm going. I'll take the under.
Well, the half is intended so that it's like you either go 0, 1, or 2, or 3 and above.
And I appreciate that, but that's the swing. That's what's making me take the under. I think this is going to be terrible. I really do. I can't imagine this being anything that I would want to see. I hope. Know what I really hope? I hope it's so awful and so that it's like that it's like it just becomes
Fans
like
start booing.
Yeah, right. I want it to be just an absolute fucking dumpster fire. That would be what I would want. I would just want it to be just a horrific, just one of the worst matches ever. Then that would get people fired up. Just how awful it is. Fucking A. What have we become? Turnbuckle match. All right, I'm done.
All right. We've also got some returns on these these shows. We got Tiger Mask back. From what I hear, not looking in the best of shape. There's plenty of ring rust there, so take that for what you will. Togi Makabe's back from his movie exploits with very, very crazy unkempt hair, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru's back as well. So always good to see people back in the ring, especially returning from injury. So there you go. Oh, also the Cartwheel Death Match. I can reveal the results now. Now this might surprise you, Dave, but all 3 of our panelists, that's Nicole, Joe Lanza, and Dave Meltzer, all gave it the exact same score.
Yeah?
Can you believe that?
And what was that?
What do you think it was?
I think you're doing a cartwheel.
So you think all 3 of them rated it 4 stars?
Yeah.
No, they all went 3.5.
Motherfucker. Does that mean I got to do a cartwheel?
Means you've got to do something. We still haven't had anything from the listeners, an appropriate punishment for you, but...
yeah. I think my life's enough, right?
You retrospectively have to have been infected by the COVID-19.
Got it. I checked that box. We'll figure something. I'll give you... I owe you probably like $1 already, don't I? About some nonsense. I'll get you... How about this? I'll give you $5. I'll PayPal it to you as soon as we're done. All right? So all of my terrible bets, I'll PayPal you $5. You can enjoy a bag of crisps and a drink on me.
Outstanding. I think I deserve that.
I do.
Okay, let me get out of the way my New Japan Strong segment. It was a Detonation last Friday, December the 18th. So just a couple of talking points here. First match was Rocky Romero defeating Danny Limelight in 9 minutes, 18 seconds. I don't know about you, Dave. I am absolutely sick of this selfish man, Rocky Romero, always putting himself over, always booking himself to win against the young, upcoming talent. What? Just terrible stuff.
I know.
No?
He's
No,
so
I'm not
selfish.
going to laugh at that one? No?
I'm laughing with it.
Okay.
He's a selfish man.
But no, it was a good match. I was glad that Rocky Romero won, because had Danny Limelight won, that would have meant that he automatically gets signed by WWE, as the trend seems to be going. Second match was Jeff Cobb defeating Russ Taylor. Again, Russ Taylor is a guy who's, I believe he's gone off to NXT, which is a shame, because I think he's a good wrestler, fun to watch, a bit like Zack Sabre Jr., but Jeff Cobb beating him was definitely the right move. A bit strange, actually, watching Jeff Cobb in these shows, because this is before he has turned heel and joined Empire, so he's still working a kind of babyface style. But there you go. Third match was PJ Black and Fred Ross defeating JR Kratos and Tom Lawler. It was a bit odd to see PJ Black pinning JR Kratos here, because I really thought they might do more to build up JR Kratos. He's a massive dude, to build him up as a monster heel, and having him getting pinned by PJ Black, who is not the biggest opponent, was a bit of a head scratcher to me. And then the fourth match was the IWGP US Heavyweight Right to Challenge contract, where Kenta defeated Brody King in 14 minutes 16 seconds with a go to sleep. So not a good weekend for Brody King, who also lost his ROH title match against Rouge. Damon, I know you haven't seen this match, but do you want to have a guess at how Kenta managed to achieve the victory against Brody King?
Was there some kind of briefcase involvement in this match?
Well, obviously that would be breaking the rules, Damon. In full view of the referee.
I mean, listen, the referee they sometimes needs to be distracted. So Bullet Club is a faction that knows the art of the sleight of hand and the idea of getting the referee distracted. It becomes second nature to a Bullet Club member. So tell me, was that possibly involved in the finish?
You're very close. The referee was indisposed when the briefcase attack was happening. Do you want to have another guess, sir?
No, I really don't give a fuck.
Well, you'll be shocked to learn that the referee was shoved into, I think it was an exposed turnbuckle pad, and was hurt and didn't see what was going on while Kenta attacked Brody King with a briefcase and hit him in the balls. And yeah, it's just shocking stuff from these dastardly Bullet Club heels.
Can I ask you a question? What are we doing with this Strong stuff? Is this just a vehicle just to give guys an opportunity to work, and we're just going to let it? Like what is the end game with Strong, in your opinion? Right,
that sigh says it all. I mean, I was sort of talking while I was watching the show. I was talking about it on the Discord to myself. I'm posting. And usually, if I talk on the Discord, other people will jump in and get a conversation going. Just nothing. No one's buying. Just me, like I said, just throwing my New Japan Strong takes into the abyss. Zero reaction. Just like the show itself. It's like the philosophical thing. If a Strong episode is released and nobody watches, did it really happen?
Right.
Schrodinger's cat or Schrodinger's Rocky. There's an episode of Strong unwatched by humanity. Rocky Romero existing in a dual state of victory and defeat because it's unconfirmed by human eyes. So there you go. An interesting philosophical experiment, but that is probably where my relationship with New Japan Strong ends for this week at least.
Is it? Are you done? Because you keep in mind you're the guy that's carrying the torch.
It's not bad. I mean, if you watch it in double speed, it flies by.
Yeah,
half an hour. What?
You're the only guy watching it.
I know. I want to see the executives. TV Asahi or whoever's in charge of New Japan. Well, thinking, right, let's check the viewership for Strong. Yeah, it's one view again. It's Bangkok, Thailand. Whatever we're doing is resonating with the Thai market. So more of that.
Let's run a show. They'll have a show there. They're going to run a house show.
And this Thai audience obviously very keen on interference and ref bumps and shenanigans. So make sure the show is heavy on that every match.
Every match needs it because
got to give the people what they want,
right? Oh, Strong. I mean, again, I as I take a sip of water, I get it. I know we had to give people, get them in the ring. And people were in the United States and couldn't get to Japan. I get it. I know it. The cameras are there. They're just going to collect dust anyway. This has to end soon. I think. I don't think it will. What's the point? I don't know. Joel, for a guy who does a New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast, how many Strong episodes do you think I've seen?
Strong. 0.
No, I did see one. I think I saw 2. I think I saw the first one, and I saw, I guess, one of the end tournament ones. It's just, I don't know. Just I forget it's even there, to be truthful.
No one wants to watch empty arena shows anymore.
Right.
And especially every time there is like I've said before, a big match, one of those briefcase defenses, the match is played exactly the same way with exactly the same finish, and I understand why no one's watching it anymore because people these are tropes that are popular, I believe, with Japanese fans. So I don't know. Maybe I might ask around. Actually, maybe Japanese New Japan fans are really interested in New Japan Strong. But yeah, there are definitely tropes that I believe are not so popular with the Western audience. So with Western fans, at least, it's a swing and a miss.
Right. I mean, look, I love pro wrestling, but come on, even I have limits. Jesus Christ. But here's the thing, just to be very clear on this, though, it's not bad. It's just that they're just shows to put on. Like, it doesn't feel like anything has a purpose or a meaning, and it's hard to do when you got guys now able to fly in and out, and they're taped 5 weeks in advance. And I mean, I get the struggles, but that means pull the plug. Pull the plug.
All right, well, let's go on to discussing our Super J-Cast end-of-year awards. So the ballot is live. If you haven't voted yet, pause this podcast, go onto the Twitter page where you will find the ballot pinned to the Twitter account. Twitter handle is the Super J-Cast. Go and vote right now. We've got over 400 at the moment. I would like to get it over 500. And thanks as always to comms_Pete on Twitter, who's put in all the hard work in making this a reality and doing it all for us. So thank you so much for doing that for us, Pete. We really appreciate it. And we're going to close it on at the end of the year, December 31st, and then
yeah. Ball drops, voting done.
All right, so
Put that on a t-shirt.
We'll wait until then to reveal your choices, but today we're going to reveal our own picks for the Super J-Cast End of Year Awards. Damon, are you ready?
I am ready. It's one of my favorite episodes of the year. We gush about the things we like. We give one last stomp on the things that we don't. Are we doing more gushing or are we doing more stomping? That's the question, and we'll find out in mere moments.
All right, so let's start off with Wrestler of the Year then. I'll just give all three of my picks and briefly explain my thoughts on why I picked them. So for my first choice, Wrestler of the Year, and let me preface this by saying, of course, with these picks, there's no right or wrong answers. Everyone's going to have their own metrics and their own values for what constitutes the best match or the best show or the best wrestler or whatever. So I'll try and illuminate you on my thoughts. If you're sitting there disagreeing, don't get angry. It's okay. Your picks can be different. No right or wrong answers here. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Because some heated debate on the Discord. People getting very, very mad. Like, I can't believe you forgot this person. So I apologise if my picks make you angry, but just take a deep breath and remind yourself we're all nerds. Okay. So my wrestler of the year is Hiromu Takahashi.
Yeah.
And the reason I've picked them is just because he's been brilliant. I'm looking at the excellent matches he's had. The Ospreay match at Wrestle Kingdom was outstanding. Just bookended by two brilliant singles matches, the Ospreay match and the El Desperado Best of Super Juniors final. The Ryu Lee match at New Beginning was outstanding. He had a great run in the New Japan Cup against the likes of Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada, which was very enjoyable in those empty arena shows. His Best of the Super Juniors was just superlative. Every night he was going out there just killing it with every single opponent. I loved the match against Robbie Eagles. The match against Sho was terrific. The match against Ryusuke Taguchi nearly made my top 10 of the year. And other stuff, the Ishimori series he's had. The Ishimori match at Summer Struggle was outstanding as well. So just top to bottom, really outstanding stuff from Hiromu Takahashi. So, and also some junior tag stuff that I thought was really good as well in the junior tag tournament. So, and he managed to have good matches with Toriano and Tomoaki Honma, and not many people can say that. So I just think a really outstanding resume from January all the way to December from Hiromu Takahashi. So he's my first choice. Second choice might be a bit of a controversial one. I have actually gone for Taichi.
Wow.
The reason I picked Taichi is because I think he has been doing outstanding stuff all year in singles and in tags and in six-man tags. So the Never Six-Man match against Goto Ishii and Yoshihashi was brilliant. One of my favourite matches of the year. The Ibushi match he had in the G1 was terrific. Other G1 matches were outstanding against the likes of Ishii, and the Ospreay match was very good. The Shingo match was great. The tag match, the Dangerous Tekkers, the series against Golden Aces, I thought was outstanding, and they've just done wonders for the tag division as well, and they were great all throughout the World Tag League. He had a great singles match with Okada at New Beginning as well, and it was difficult to pick between him and Zack, but I just gave the edge to him because I've enjoyed his single stuff just a shred more than I enjoyed Zack's single stuff, and just his whole character, his promo stuff, even like the little videos he did, like the video with Kanemaru that we talked about a few weeks ago, has just been tremendous fun to watch. His Fire Pro stuff that he did, so I think he's had an outstanding 2020, not just in singles competition, but just all across the board. So my second choice is Taichi, and my third choice, it was a coin toss really between Tetsuya Naito and Shingo Takagi, because Naito, his highs have been as high as you get. He's had outstanding matches with likes of Kazuchika Okada, the Tanahashi match in the G1, the Zack match in the G1 I thought was great, but there's not that much depth to it. So of course, you make your own judgment on whether you value depth or the peaks. So I didn't pick Naito at the end. I picked Shingo Takagi as my third place. The really tough choice to make. I just think Shingo's done everything this year. He did really excellent stuff. Even from the start of the year, the tag stuff that he's done has been great. That tag match with Evil against Goto and Ishii at New Year Dash. He's been a really wonderful never openweight champion. Has had some great matches against the likes of Goto and Suzuki and Sho and Desperado. And for a lot of people, propping up cards that had somewhat disappointing main events in some people's opinions. The tag stuff that he did with Sanada during World Tag League was excellent, and I think his G1 was really good as well. I didn't enjoy it as much as other people did. I think other people are a lot higher on Shingo singles matches than I am. I personally enjoyed his tag stuff a lot more than I did his single stuff, but I can still acknowledge that his single stuff was very, very good. So, the G1 matches against Okada, Ospreay. I know a lot of people love the Ishii matches as well, the Ibushi match. So just for sheer effort, like he's just the amount of effort and work that this guy's put in 2020 is just, I've got to acknowledge that, and I respect that. So that's why my third place choice I give it to Shingo Takagi.
Not bad choices, and I like the fact that you went outside the box a little bit. And backed them up with a valid argument. So for me, I'm looking at a guy who has kept me entertained throughout the entire year. I don't think I've seen a bad match. A guy who, from Wrestle Kingdom to just, a few weeks ago, has bookended his year with arguably some of the best things we've seen in New Japan in this entire popular New Japan run. A character who resonates with so many people, and a person who has truly elevated the junior ranks more than anyone that I can think of, minus a legend of Jushin Liger. There's a lot of people that talk the talk about being the guy that elevates and takes the juniors to the next level. Hiromu hasn't talked that talk. He's walked that walk. And we mentioned it even, I think it was last week, where you have to consider him an anchor in this promotion, a Mount Rushmore, if you will. And there's no junior that is comparable to that, except maybe early 90s Liger. That's amazing to me. He is the wrestler of the year in my eyes, and that's Hiromu Takahashi. There, in a year that people struggled to stay connected with this promotion, I think he was one of those people that made people watch and made people tune in. Even with clap crowds and half-empty arenas and all that shit, he was one guy that people went out of their way to watch. So that's why he's my wrestler of the year. Again, it's a strange year. I can't consider business of gates and houses and who's a draw and all that. I mean, that's out the fucking window this year. This year, it's really about who's top of the promotion, who do the fans connect with, and who's put on the best matches. So, number one, there you go. My number two was Naito. For a lot of the reasons that you did mention, Joel, the peaks were very high for me. The lows were low, but I don't necessarily think that's his fault. I truly believe that the evil thing. I know everybody wants to talk about Jericho and how they talked, and Jericho was told that Evil was the guy who's getting a title. And okay, I still, again, there is a part of me that's like, oh, I don't know if I believe all that. But okay, let's just say that did happen. The summer was built around that man getting that title back and him doing his pose in the center of the ring and the fireworks going off behind him. and you can debate on where Evil is now and how well that worked and all that stuff. That's another conversation. But for Naito, I feel like that was a shining moment of the year. And now we go into Wrestle Kingdom build, and while it hasn't been the best, he is the focal point once again. So he's my number 2. Number 3, I went with Shingo, and I talk about being an anchor. Like, I felt like he's been that guy. He's been a solid force. He's been a rock for that mid-card, upper mid-card, never title scene. I think he's done a great job. His matches I look forward to, too. So I think he had a very good G1. I think he's had a very good year in general. So it was between him, in my mind, even Tanahashi, even though he wound up, looking at the lights more often than not. That's like he had watch that Naito G1 match. Watch those tag matches. They're really fucking great matches, and he's the center of that. And I feel like he went out of his way to put his pro wrestling ego aside to allow him to really push new stars. And that has to be acknowledged and a tip of the cap. He didn't get my place, but he was in my consideration. And also Minoru Suzuki as well, who I thought had a great year as well. So, again, I went Hiromu 1, I went Naito 2, Shingo 3.
Match of the year then. So I've spent the last 48 hours rewatching a lot of stuff that was on my shortlist. I've got a top 15. I had to narrow it down for top 10 for the Voices of Wrestling yearbook, but maybe I will give my top 10. Well, I'll give my top 3 to start with. So, first place, Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito from Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. As I've said before, just an incredible moment being there live, like the fact that I was in on the ground floor for this story, like being there at Wrestle Kingdom 12 and seeing him lose and, almost trying to sort of hold back his emotion and put a brave face on it, and just having that redemption story and the whole storytelling stuff with the Stardust Genius and managing to land the Stardust Press. It just ticked every single box for what I like to see, that character growth, that long-term storytelling, and just the fans going wild like it was a football match and their team had just scored a goal. Just absolute peak pro wrestling for me. Number 2, Hiromu versus El Desperado from the Best of the Super Juniors final. I think I've said enough about that match. A lot of people seem to enjoy my thoughts on it last week, so you can go and listen to that again. But just, again, very similar to the Okada Naito match, just long-term storytelling, real stories, blended in with the pro wrestling and the kayfabe. An outstanding match from bell to bell. That character growth and development, those little details where if you're following it closely and you're investing in the characters, you get rewarded in a big, big way. And number 3, I went for Dangerous Tekkers versus Golden Aces from Dominion, which is just peak tag team wrestling for me. And I love my tag team wrestling, and it's been a constant disappointment up until this year, the way that New Japan has handled the tag division. But this was just it done to perfection. They put him in a big spot. They got the co-main event at Osaka Joe Hall. They got 30 minutes, and they knocked it out of the park. Just great storytelling between all 4 of them. They've all got history, and just the way they told their story together. Just, the little moments like Taichi and Ibushi having their kick off in the middle of the match, which played into their G1 match later in the year, and the way that Tanahashi was just decimated at the end with scores of Dragon Screw leg whips, just destroying his knee before they eventually put him out of his misery. It was just brilliant stuff. So those are my top 3 matches for 2020. How about you, Damon?
Nice. So me, I actually did a little rewatching myself, and because again, I was more concerned a little bit about recency bias. I just want to make sure that the blood's pumping from a certain match that was a few weeks ago. I didn't want that to skew. I didn't want that to have me make a poor choice. It didn't. It still is my match of the year. And I'm talking about Hiromu and Despy. And again, the more that I learn about it, and the more little details that I learn about the match, I enjoy it more and more. Again, I think for a long time, New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, there's so much that you can sink your teeth into there. If you are a person who's just parachuting in and watching matches, the match holds up as one of the best of the year as well. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And for me, I don't know, it just resonated. It really connected with me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think it's a match that people will go back and watch for years. My second match was Okada and Naito. So if there's any movement there in my 1, 2, 3.
Who are you texting?
My therapist.
You text with your therapist?
Text, video chat, call. Yep.
That sounds too easy. How did you find her?
I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable.
I wonder if I should try it.
It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save.
BetterHelp.com/save. Got it. We'll get back to your music shortly, but first, did you know that prescription prices are different at different pharmacies? You could literally drive across the street and get a different price. That's crazy. But with GoodRx, you can instantly compare prices at every pharmacy in your neighborhood and save up to 80%. You're probably thinking there's a catch, right? Nope. It's 100% free and can save you money whether you have insurance or not. In fact, it can often beat your copay. Download the GoodRx app today and start saving. GoodRx is not insurance.
That moved up. That actually moved up because I think that closing stretch, and again, if we're talking about 2020, those fans going nuts. I'll just never forget those fans going nuts and losing their mind. And I was in the Dome when Naito was supposed to walk away with that title against Okada, and Okada pins him, and everybody's looking at each other like, what in the fuck just happened? And it did feel a little bit like the balloon was deflated at the Dome. But the flip side of the coin was the celebration and the jubilance and the almost like pent-up emotion for a lot of people. And they exploded. And it was just like somebody scored a big goal or a big basket in the last second. So general organic emotions. That was pretty great. And then I went with Ospreay and Shingo. G1. I thought that match was tremendous. I still do. And in many cases, it was one of my favorite matches and easily a number one. But it got bumped. So yeah, strange 2020, right?
All right, next category is Show of the Year. So my Show of the Year was Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. So obviously the incredible main event, but just top to bottom, a just tremendously enjoyable show. And obviously being there live, that gives it a bump as well. But we open up with a really fun gauntlet match for the Never Openweight 6-man tag championships, which I've admitted, I'm a big fan of those matches. Then we had Jushin Liger's retirement, his match against Ryu Lee and Hiromu, which is a really emotional moment. Very enjoyable junior tag title match with Roppongi 3K against Ishimori and El Phantasmo. I love the Zack Sabre Jr. against Sanada match for the British Heavyweight Championship. Moxley Juice match was fine, it wasn't particularly memorable, but I really enjoyed Goto versus Kenta, really hard-hitting Never Openweight Championship match. I like the Jay White versus Ibushi match. I know it's quite controversial. Jericho Tanahashi match surprised me, really exceeded my expectations. I love that one, and I thought I really wasn't going to, but you can't rule out and bet against Tanahashi at the Dome. And then, of course, the main event, Okada Naito. So just a tremendous top-to-bottom wrestling show for me. The second choice, I went for Night 2 of the G1 Climax, where we had a really nice Juice versus Yoshihashi opener. First time we'd seen Juice for ages, and Yoshihashi showing new fire. The Sanada versus Yano match, which didn't do much for me, but the other stuff, Kenta versus Goto rematch, I think was even better than their Wrestle Kingdom match. The Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil match, which I love, that squeezed into my top 10 for the year with an incredible finish and great reaction from the crowd. And then that wonderful Tanahashi versus Naito main event. And then my third choice was a struggle between the Jingu Stadium match, the Jingu Stadium show, which I thought was a really tremendous show, but I didn't go for that one. In the end, I went for G1 Climax Night 17, where we had Shingo Suzuki, we had the Ospreay Okada thing with the return of Great Okan and the Empire making their debut. Ibushi versus Taichi, where that wonderful match where they just kicked each other for 20 minutes, and that made my top 10 of the year as well. And then the main event with Jay White against Ishii, with Jay White shitting the bed, Ishii getting the big win there. So just not necessarily from in-ring quality, but just a real sort of roller coaster, really exciting pro wrestling where we had a mixture of tremendous in-ring stuff and angles and returns and shocking moments. So just really ran the full spectrum of pro wrestling delights for me on night 17 of the G1.
Very similar, maybe just in a different order. My first was Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, which I thought, if we're being honest here, it was the last big pro wrestling show. Let me take that back. Next to last that I attended, and it had everything. It had that climactic ending. It had, after intermission, I thought everything was really great. And again, being there, the atmosphere, all that stuff. How can I not? The second one was night 17, right? G1. I thought that was, for me, one of the best. I don't want to say it was the best booked. How can I? It almost felt like it was like a major show that felt like an old school pro wrestling television show where we're just popping you with hot angles and great matches, almost like like the first Clash of the Champions almost. It had everything, and it kept you on your toes, and it kept you fucking awake. I thought that was pro wrestling perfection for a show that eyeballs were on to continue on storylines and to end storylines and to continue the G1 itself. No, I thought that was really masterclass pro wrestling. I feel like I wimped out and cheated a little bit, but I did go back the next day, the next morning, the morning of the hangover. And I did because we had to record and we had to watch the show that I halfway missed. But night one doesn't get as much respect, I think. Night one was pretty fucking awesome with Hiromu and Ospreay, with Naito and Ibushi, Okada winning. So I went night one for my third. So my order was night 2, 17, night 1.
Yeah, I can see that, and I think night one's going to do very well in our polls with the listeners as well. I just thought it was a bit heavy on the 8-man tag matches at the start of the show. It was definitely a show that was backloaded, so that's why I didn't pick it. Even though I did enjoy the show tremendously, and there was. I
love the legends.
Really
I love seeing the legends in the first match. Archer. I think the brawl with Archer was good. I don't know. And again, I think the second half was pretty tremendous as well. So.
I wanted to talk about that Hiromu Ospreay match because I forgot how fucking brilliant that is.
Yeah.
And it got forgotten, I think, given the fact that the ending, at least of the Okada Ibushi match, was so spectacular. But I went and rewatched Hiromu versus Ospreay, and it is just 24 minutes, just balls to the wall. Everything you want from the junior heavyweight division, the high flying spots, and this, I've given Ospreay a lot of shit this year, but this is the kind of Ospreay that I love watching, the kind of Ospreay that I loved in 2019, where he's not got ideas above his station. He's just doing what he does best, which is just high flying, athletic, spectacular stuff. Also acting like a bit of a dick as well, going after Hiromu's neck, and just everything executed flawlessly. The pace was relentless, and it's just brilliant. If you haven't done it already, I strongly recommend going back and watching that Hiromu Ospreay match because it is just really tremendous. I know it didn't make either of our top threes, but just elite level stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, then that will bring us on to Tag Team of the Year. First choice, it's a no-brainer. Dangerous Tekkers just running away with it. So they have just rejuvenated those tag team titles with the help of Golden Aces, but just from the middle of the year onwards, really. And World Tag League, I thought they did a great job in elevating the division, not just themselves. They had really excellent matches with all the other contenders and put over the right people and made it look like a healthy, competitive heavyweight tag team division. And just not just the in-ring action, but also their chemistry as well, and the promos afterwards are always really entertaining. So Dangerous Tekkers get first choice. Second choice, I went with a 6-man team, the Chaos Team, Yoshihashi, Ishii and Goto, which made, for me, again, rejuvenated those 6-man titles, made them must-see stuff for me. I thought that tournament was great. The tournament final was tremendous between the two Chaos teams, and that match they had with Suzuki-gun was outstanding as well. So I've gone for the Chaos six-man team there. And then third choice, it's a tricky one. I went with Finjuice in the end just because they opened the year strong, winning those titles at Wrestle Kingdom, and they were very consistent. I don't think I watched their match in the New Beginning USA tour, but certainly when they came back afterwards for the latter end of the year with the World Tag League stuff, they were great. Finley looked tremendous. So my third choice is Finjuice.
You nailed it exactly as mine. Runaway winner was Techers. Second was, again, a little bit of an odd choice, but name me a team who has made those never openweight tag belts as interesting, especially, if we're talking about tag matches during the year, that was one of the best ones at Corgan. And then Finjuice were a highlight for me, at least, of World Tag League. So if I got to sit there and watch World Tag League, okay, Finjuice is on. All right, they're staying. They're not getting fast forwarded. So, and again, opening the year with winning the titles. Again, that middle was a little empty, and it was empty for a lot of people. You can't blame them, but I think it's worthy of at least a third place vote. And exactly the same for me.
Fifth category is Junior Heavyweight of the Year. Obviously, Hiromu is getting first choice for all the reasons we mentioned already. Second choice, I went for El Desperado, who had an outstanding Best of the Super Juniors, but also I think did other important stuff with the Junior Tag Team titles as well. I thought they were an integral part of that. Obviously, they're the champions too. And also, he did some interesting openweight stuff in the middle of the year. He had a great match with Ishii in the New Japan Cup. He had a really good challenge for the Never Openweight title against Shingo Takagi, and his backstage promos are maybe the best. They're right up there in the company. There's an outstanding piece I'm halfway through reading from J. Michael, writes for Voices of Wrestling. That's going to be in their yearbook about Despy's promos throughout the year, and just reading that has made me appreciate what an outstanding talent he is in the ring and outside of the ring as well. Just tremendous promo ability. And third place, again, a bit of a coin toss between Ishimori and Sho. I went for Sho in the end because he did great stuff in the junior tag division at the start of the year with Roppongi 3K. And then the single stuff was great in the middle of the year when he was doing openweight things in the New Japan Cup. I thought that match with Shingo in the New Japan Cup was one of my favourite matches of the year. Just incredible stuff from Sho. And he also had a rematch, didn't he, at Dominion against Shingo, which was really good. And his Best of the Super Juniors was great. Really just high quality matches against the likes of Robbie Eagles and Hiromu and El Desperado. So, yeah, my third choice was Sho.
Yeah, I very similar, except one flip. Obviously, Hiromu won. I went Sho, too. And I went Sho, and I felt like, am I cheating a little bit? Because he did have those opportunities kind of in that open weight gray area, being able to work with guys that are, that most juniors wouldn't be able to and have great matches. But then slide right back into Best of the Super Juniors, which I thought was good. So I went 2 for him. Again, it felt like when I cast that ballot, am I cheating? He's a junior. Listen, he's a junior. Do we all agree that he should be? I don't know. But he's a junior. And I think his output was worthy of a 2. And then third, I went Desperado, who I think is... I'll tell you what. If this company would be smart to find a way to put a little bit more of a spotlight on this dude, because for me and Joel, I don't want to speak for him, but I think I can at this point. You got yourself a talent that cannot be wasted. Let's really see what he can do. Well, let me take that back. You saw what he can do. Let's see more of that. That's what I would love to see from Despy, just an elevation in 2021. And if he has a year like he closed out, he could challenge Hiromu. I would not have a problem with a little tag, or excuse me, a little junior heavyweight title. that wouldn't be a bad idea, and have Hiromu chase a little bit. I would have no objections to that. So again, Hiromu, Show, Despy.
The sixth category is Unsung Wrestler of the Year. A lot of debate over what this means, unsung. I see it as someone who hasn't been nominated for other top awards and hasn't held championships for large parts of the year, and someone who's just unselfish and just quietly has a very strong year and also does their part in helping establish other people. So first choice, far and away, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who has just been staring at the lights for most of the year, but in the process having outstanding matches. He put over Jericho in Wrestle Kingdom in a tremendous match. The tag stuff that he did with Ibushi and helping establish Dangerous Tekkers as the ace tag team of the division was great. He had an outstanding G1, and again, just putting over everyone, putting over Naito. The Sanada match was incredible. Even the Goto match I really enjoyed. I'm probably forgetting some as well, but I thought he had one of the best G1 outputs in the whole company. And the same in the World Tag League, he teamed up with Hanare and is just putting over all the other teams night after night after night. Just such an unselfish wrestler, and he's going to do it again when he wrestles Great Okan at Wrestle Kingdom. So Tanahashi, far and away, unsung wrestler, just having outstanding matches and just helping elevate everyone else in the company in multiple divisions. Second choice, I've gone for Doki, again, he was in the shout for most improved as well, but I think he's always been good. Maybe he's been able to shirt a bit more this year, but he's a guy who I think has done outstanding work in the junior division and in the six-man division, helping other people to look great. Showing that fire against Yoshihashi and making Yoshihashi look like a star in Korakuen for that big six-man title match. And also in the Best of the Super Juniors. He's going out there having spectacular, high-flying, dangerous matches, and more often than not staring at the lights and making everyone else, or most of other people in the block, look like serious contenders. So he is just out there in the junior division and the six-man division making other people look great. My third choice was Rocky Romero, who has been doing that on New Japan Strong. Basically, I'm only watching Strong so I can watch Rocky Romero. And it's just such an unselfish guy, helping elevate that young talent. He will just put over anyone. That if he sees the value in them, he's got no ego whatsoever. He will get the very best out of them. And yeah, that's why my number 3 pick is Rocky Romero. So what about you, Damon? Your unsung wrestlers of the year.
Yeah, there's a few. There are guys that I feel like are lower middle of the card or lower end of the card that I feel like just haven't gotten a shake and haven't gotten a break and haven't gotten something to take them to the next level. Like a guy like Hanare, right, who has all the talent in the world, I feel like, and just hasn't been able to, whether it be injury or COVID or I can't get into the country, or it just seems like whatever momentum he gets, the brakes are put on it very quickly. You have guys that the fans enjoy a ton and root for and enjoy matches. A guy like Robbie Eagles that has it all, and you would love to see more of, right? And then you have a guy like Tanahashi, who has done it all, has been to the top of the mountain, recognizes the fact that he's on his way down the mountain, can still perform at a incredibly high level. And again, for those of you who are doubting Hiroshi Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome, shame on you, because you're about to be wrong again. Who has looked at the lights and put over people and made stars and elevated titles by just being in the program and treating them seriously. And he's done that all year. And truth be told, he doesn't have to be. So there's a lot of different ways you can go for unsung. Even Finlay, a guy who, again, he's in a prominent role when it comes to fighting for tag titles and World Tag League, but I feel like he doesn't get his fair shake of being an equal partner on that tag team for whatever reason. Don't know. I can't answer that. I went with I don't have my thing in front of me. where does it go? I'm trying to remember who I went with now because I have to get my fucking ballot back up and I can't find it. I'm almost certain I went with a combination. I forget which order, so just so we can move on. I think I went Robbie Eagles, not at number one, but in the mix. He's 1, 2, or 3. Hiroshi Tanahashi, and I went with Taguchi, as a matter of fact, because I feel like he is unsung in the sense of he can go. He doesn't always do it.
I'll stop you there. He wasn't on the ballot, so it was.
I wrote him in.
Kanemaru, Tanahashi, Yuji Nagata, Rocky Romero, and Robbie Eagles.
Did I do? Who did I vote for Tanahashi? Where is Taguchi in this ballot? I voted for him for something. Was it for that? I can't find my fucking ballot.
Maybe Taguchi should have been on that. That's a good shout. Talk to us about Taguchi instead, then.
All right. Well, again, I feel like he's a guy who can go, but I could have sworn I voted for Taguchi. I don't know. I'm old. I have no idea.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people have forgotten that tag match, the junior heavyweight title tag match earlier in the year with the mega coaches, Taguchi and Rocky, taking on Roppongi 3K. Very underrated match.
Yeah. I'm more worried that I can't find my fucking ballot. Because if we're doing a whole fucking rest of the show, I got to find it. But yeah, there was, I mean, I know Eagles is in there and I know Tanahashi's in there. I just don't forget the order.
All right, then seventh category is the most improved wrestler. First choice, I went for Yoshihashi. Some people will say that he's always been good, but I think this year he has stepped up a bit. He's a guy who I think is genuinely feels his place in the company is threatened, and rightly so. He missed out on the G1 Climax last year, and he's got his spot back this year, and he's fighting tooth and nail to keep it. And again, it's that mixture of kayfabe and real life. And I just feel that he's brought extra energy and intensity and just a bit of edge as well. To, his attacks look painful now. There's a bit more urgency to him. Just little things like the little key lock crank of the arm when he's doing the butterfly lock. So he just looks like a guy who is just trying to claw his way back into his spot in the company and just fight for every inch that you can get. So G1 was great, and his six-man stuff has been great, and really well-deserved to see him getting his crowning moment at Korakuen and becoming a champion for the first time in New Japan, becoming a six-man champion. And he is like the poster child for those titles now, and I thought he's brought a lot of value to them. Second choice, I've gone for Jeff Cobb, who I think is someone who had a bit of a iffy G1 Climax last year. I think there were accusations that maybe he was getting gassed very early on in matches, but I think this year he's really found his feet and he was able to go out and have really compelling and really different matches with all the people in his block. And I feel that everyone was sort of playing to his strengths. He was able to sort of stylistically work out the best way for him to wrestle each of those different people in his block and getting the right time length for the match, not going too long, and managing to show off his strengths, because he is filling a gap in the roster for being a powerhouse gaijin after people like Michael Elgin or Lance Archer or whomever have left the company, and I thought he did a tremendous job. So, and also I'm really into his stuff in the World Tag League with Okan and Empire. I thought he's been very good at that. It's a new role for him, playing a heel, and I think he's doing a really good job so far. And my third choice is David Finlay, who we've talked about in previous years. What does he need to do to step it up to the next level? And he has done every single thing that we've asked of him. The work rate is upped in the ring. He's looking like he is desperate to win all of those matches. The promos have improved. He's showing a lot of passion and fire. He really wants to win these tag team championships. He wants to win the World Tag League, and he's getting across that it means the world to him. So that makes it more meaningful for us. He looks better. He looks like a serious wrestler. The gear is improved. He's in better shape. So he's just every single one of those criteria that we laid out that we wanted to see him improve in. He has done that, and I'm really optimistic that I really hope that he has a improved 2021, because I think he's a guy you could slot into the G1 Climax right now. I'm that enthusiastic about his improvements so far.
A little disappointed that you didn't have Tai Chi on this list. Any reason why Tai Chi wasn't on this list?
I think he was on it last year, so
yeah.
I think he's just been consistently good. I haven't seen any notable improvements. I think Tai Chi's always been a really high level wrestler.
I think he's even taken a step from last year. My votes were similar to yours. Yoshihashi is a guy who I gave a little nickname, a little something to vent my frustrations over. Mean-spirited, should I say? Bag of socks. And that bag of socks describes a guy who he's there. Not good, not terrible, just there. Like opening up a gift underneath the Christmas tree, a bag of socks. You need it. Not necessarily something that you're going to get too excited over, but bag of socks. Well, bag of socks, you got yourself a most improved wrestler of the year. And it's not necessarily the fact that nobody thought he could go. He can have great matches. And the one match that I just kind of sticks in my mind when we talk about Yoshihashi and having great matches and being a bag of socks is that opening G1 at Corkin against Kenny Omega. I thought that was a really great match. And there are others I'm sure people can point to too. But I think what he was missing was a reason and a focus. And I love the story of him getting the title and his buddies all there kind of high-fiving him and celebrating with him. I don't know. There's something about Yoshihashi this year that I don't know if he's turned a corner. But he's felt different. He felt compelling. He felt interesting. And he felt he gave me a reason to give a shit. Now, again, that could be the company giving him that opportunity and him taking advantage of it. Okay, great. He still has to take advantage of it. So he got my number one. My number two, I went with Doki. And I'll tell you why. When I first saw Doki, I was very quick to just hand wave him. As, you know, what possibly could this guy bring to the table for this company? And what he does bring is a grimier, grittier, a little less polished, but a little bit more dangerous Hiromu element. He's a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get. And that's pretty cool in the sense of, okay, is he just going to fuck everything up and get himself disqualified banging around that fucking cane? Or is he going to have a spectacular junior-style match? Or is it going to be what are we getting? You never know match to match. And I kind of like that. And I think that element helps improve a pro wrestling card in general, but specifically a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. I think he's found his groove, and I think he's found his role. And I'm not going to sit here and say I look forward to Doki matches, but I mean, I'm not fast forwarding them, and I mean, that's improvement to me. So he got my number 2 pick. My number 3 pick, I went with David Finlay. I just think from World Tag League last year and the Dome this year, and specifically World Tag League, I see him in a different light, and I see him in a more serious light. And again, that might have more to do with the company than him, but he's got to take the ball and run with it. And I thought he had an outstanding World Tag League. And he is a guy that it's very easy to dismiss and very easy to hand wave just because the company's had trouble finding a role for the guy. I think this year he's made the most out of a real crap situation. The tag team was good with Juice. It still is good with Juice. My biggest concern is now, what do you do with him now? But his 2020 I thought was solid. So I gave him a 3rd.
Next category then is biggest disappointments.
Oh, here we go.
So, biggest disappointment. My first choice was Ibushi's briefcase Wrestle Kingdom booking. You know, that's one of the few things that has been sacred in New Japan, is the fact that winning the G1 means something, having that briefcase means something, and for years they've teased us, you know, is this the year the briefcase going to flip? Is this the year the briefcase going to flip? And they did it, and it was a shocking moment, and then they undid it less than 24 hours later, and that just really undercut the value of that match, the briefcase defenses of winning the G1, it's a big mess. That doesn't mean anything anymore, and I think that's a real shame, just because of this double dome stuff that they've done again this year. It feels like that was one of the few meaningful things in New Japan that has been compromised. So that was by far and away my biggest disappointment. Second, I went for the increased shenanigans, the ref bumps, the interference, the cheating, which I didn't mind earlier in the year. I was perfectly fine with Evil doing it. I enjoyed his matches. I thought it was good heat. But then when everyone else started doing it, it's like when you're tuning in and then you see Evil doing it, and then the tag stuff, you see GOD doing it, and then you're watching Strong and you're seeing Kenta doing it, and then you see the Super J Cup and El Phantasmo do it. It's just overkill. So I'm saturated with the shenanigans at the moment. I think less is more. I don't mind it being part of New Japan, but I just think you've got to be a bit more selective about how you're using it. And then my third one is Kazuchika Okada. So I understand that he's been downcycled this year and is perhaps trying to tell a story in that sense. But I feel that having one of your biggest stars and best wrestlers having an off year has helped to contribute to this feeling that New Japan isn't as good as it was, because he's been the guy flying the flag for the company and putting on outstanding matches. And I'm not necessarily blaming him, because I'm sure he's physically banged up, and it makes sense for him to have a year where he's not as high physical intensity as in previous years. But I just feel taking him away from the top table in New Japan has led to perhaps a decrease in quality, when I would have hoped for more from a lot of his matches, particularly the G1 Climax. So yeah, that's my three.
Good picks, because I'm right in there. Maybe just a different order. My number one was Okada, because as you mentioned, as the guy who's carrying the torch for New Japan, and a lot of the people that watch New Japan, this was a jarring fall from grace from the entire year. Name me a great Okada match. It's hard in 2020. And now you look back.
Well, you got two in your top three. You got the Naito match, and I've mistaken the Shingo match. But sorry, a lot of people are very high on the Okada Shingo match on the G1. I realise you didn't pick it, so my mistake. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, it's fine. I mean, and that was a good match, but you compare his 2020 with other years where we have to have a conversation of, okay, that's great, but it's not super great, and we can't put it in, because if we did, we'd have 30 fucking matches of the year up on a ballot. The King of Pro Wrestling idea and his involvement, which was a fart in church. Across the board, I mean, when people are talking about the idea of, is this a work? This can't possibly be real. That you can't is he hurt? It's this was not his best year. This was for a guy who has had such a tremendous career and maintained that year after year after year, to then put that in front of us, 2020, put his year in front of us. It's too much. And I think for a lot of people, it's one of those foundational blocks of why New Japan has taken such a fall in 2020. Second, I went with the shenanigans, the ref bumps. And that goes in line with, again, a lot of people just, they had enough of it. It's lazy booking. There's other ways to make you a heel. You don't need to have fucking red shoes lying on the mat dying every fucking match. It got to the point where when I would see red shoes, I would just be like, oh, fuck. Can we get Marty in there? Because I know what's going to happen. I think those two things kind of go together. I mean, you could put that under booking, right? And I think that's a big issue. My third, I went with one that was a little bit outside the box, maybe. Only because it leaves a little bit of egg on my face. I was the guy who said, look, you can't judge Mexico excursions. You can't, all these reports, half these people aren't even watching these matches. They just heard it. And I've seen the excursion, and I didn't think it was that bad. And then he debuts. Oh, first we see the vignettes, the videos. Dancing through the bamboo. And then the debut. And then the matches. And then where we are now. Look, I was the biggest Kawato guy. Him as a young lion. I predicted he would be wearing gold. And just the sky's the limit. And the fucking put the rocket pack on the back of this guy. And look at where we are now. So, for me, I had to give him third. Because I was so high on him. So high on him. That there's no way, I can't turn away from it. It's a disappointment. And he got my third place vote.
Next is favourite wrestler, and a bit of overlap with my wrestlers of the year. So my number one favourite wrestler of this year has been Taichi, for all the reasons I've mentioned. Number two, Hiromu. And number three, I went for Zack Sabre Jr. For a lot of the reasons I mentioned before about Taichi. I just think the in-ring stuff has been excellent this year. He had some great singles matches. The Ospreay match was really good at the start of the year. I enjoyed the Sonata match at Wrestle Kingdom, but also his promos. He's always just a joy to watch in the backstage promos when he's calling people dickheads. So just the whole gimmick, the character, the in-ring stuff, out of the ring stuff is great. So yeah, Taichi, Hiromu, and Zack.
I went Hiromu number one because he was the guy that kept me interested in times when even I felt my interest sliding a bit. He was the guy that I made sure I tuned in for. From promos to presentation to in-ring. To me, he's the guy I need to watch. And I love the fact that he's he is one of the most important juniors in the history of this company. My second, I really enjoy losing Tanahashi. There's something so great about him being this guy, this legend, putting over people. I think I cheered more with him putting over people than I did all the times combined when he was winning. I just think he's so talented and brings like that. That Naito match in G1, where he was just fired up and giving those leg whips, and everyone was on their feet, just even at home, cheering this old fuck on. I love him. I don't think there's something about Tanahashi that he has just this magnetic charisma that no one else has. Like, he feels like a fucking star. I don't care who you put him in the ring with. You can put him in the ring with Hanare. You can put him in the ring in tag situations all year. You can fucking make him never six-man title. He's just that good. So he's my second favorite. I really like Zack a lot, too. I love his backstage promos. I enjoy his matches a lot. I was kind of shocked by Lanza kind of dogging him a little bit because I thought he would be a wrestler that's right up his alley, but different strokes for different folks. I really like him in ring. I find him creative and fun and super talented, so he's my third favorite.
Least favorite of the year, number one, I've gone for Jado. Just every time he gets involved in a match, it just grinds to a halt. Like the single stuff he did in the New Japan. I know it was like emergency; they had no one else, but that was very, very difficult to watch. The tag stuff he's been involved in was awful, and just him doing run-ins with a kendo stick just does nothing for me. It's just executed in slow motion and just kills my enjoyment of a match. Speaking of which,
remember that Okada
Against Yujiro,
Yo,
Jado,
God.
and Geza. Yes, I do, unfortunately. If we had a poll for worst match of the year, that would definitely be top of mind.
And Okada's in it. Just FYI. You know?
The 4 worst wrestlers in the company. Actually, that's not fair on Yujiro. Second choice, I've gone for Bad Luck Fale. Again, it seems, it just seems like low effort stuff from him. He just looks like he doesn't give a shit anymore. He occasionally, like when he does care against the right opponent, like he was doing good stuff for Shingo in the World Tag League, but everything else in the World Tag League was a fast forward for me. Didn't enjoy it at all. And third choice, I've gone for El Phantasmo, who just, I don't know, just maybe this is me working myself into a shoot, but he just rubbed me the wrong way in the Super J Cup. So after I finished watching the Super J Cup, I was just like, I'm sick of this motherfucker. I hate him. He's awful. So there's my 3 picks. Bullet Club trio there for you.
Nice. You went all out with that one. Jado for me is just instant fast forward. I just have no. I don't care about his kendo stick. As much as Kevin Kelly tries to get him over, it's not working for me. That's for damn sure. Fale. I mean, Fale's fine. I mean, do I go out of my way to watch? No. I mean, but he's all right. I went with Honma. I just can't watch the guy at this point.
I was going to pick him actually, Damon, but he had a really good match with Hiromu in the Super J Cup, so that I remember that match and I thought, I can't pick him.
I just can't watch him. I just can't. I think he's. I don't know. I'm not one of these safety guys who's worried. But with him, I kind of am. Like it's just like
accident waiting to happen.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like it's just there's no reason for him to be out there. And he's out there, and he's doing that. Third for me is once again Master Wato. I just have no interest in the Master Wato. I actively hate the gimmick. It's such a disappointment just knowing and feeling what could have been. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was so off the mark, but I'm just not into Master Wato, man.
Well, those conclude our picks for the year-end awards. If you haven't done yours again, please make sure you do vote. Every vote counts. There's a lot of stuff I've just glanced on a knife edge there, so your vote could be the difference in swaying it one way or the other. So again, that's pinned to our Twitter page. And again, thank you to Comms Pete for all the hard work that he did putting that stuff together. Want to do a few questions before we go?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a little time for that. Sure.
Matty says, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 is a serious lack of star power with nothing booked for Okada or Tanahashi, nothing inked in for Naito, Ibushi or Hiromu. Has New Japan booked themselves into a corner, or do you think they have an ace up their sleeve?
Well, I mean, half the stuff isn't booked because we don't know winners and, we don't know what we're going to be looking at when it comes to especially the heavyweight title. Do they have stuff up their sleeve? Well, we talked about it for a little bit. Look, I think they know where they are in the sense of they have it's not like they don't have their finger on the pulse of the feedback, and some of the question marks that remain. I don't think they booked themselves into a corner, but. And I do think they have things up their sleeves. Look, here's really what it is. I think this has the groundwork, and this has the feeling of underwhelming on paper, but we'll be talking about these two shows for a long time. Like I have that feeling that even though it doesn't look as sexy maybe as other Wrestle Kingdoms, I think it feels to me that we're going to be talking about these two shows for a long time. I think they're going to be really good because I think they know the buzz about it and the feeling and the talk and the chitter chatter, and I think people have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because of it. So I think this is going to be. I think these two shows are going to be great. I really do. I honestly do. Again, on paper, sometimes it's kind of hard to say. I really do think that they're going to pull it out, and whether that's a surprise, whether that's a shocking revelation, whatever that is, I think we'll be talking about it for a long time.
Sean says, if Jay wins night 2, how do you guys feel about Suzuki putting him to sleep after the match and challenging him at New Year Dash or New Beginning Tour? Mark says, with Suzuki making a special appearance at night 2 last year, not having anything announced for the 2 nights this year, do you think they're going to do a big angle at Dash? They never replaced Archer. They're seemingly faces in the tag title match. Despy, I'm asking, had the crowd behind him. Is there a face turn for the group coming? So we talked a bit about Suzuki earlier, but what do you think about these ideas and Suzuki-gun moving forward?
Eventually, Suzuki's going to pack it in. Right? I mean, he's in his 50s at this point, so you would think it would be sooner than later. I mean, it's not a terrible idea. I know a lot of people. You're in the Ibushi camp winning, right?
Yes, I think he's most likely to win. But, we've gone into Wrestle Kingdom previously thinking, well, surely this guy's going to win. And it hasn't happened. So, like I said last week, I think the more interesting outcome is Naito retaining. But if I had to bet money on it, I would say Ibushi wins.
Okay. I don't think, of all of them, I don't think Jay White wins it. So, how's that? I think it's between Naito. Mm-hmm. I think it's between Naito and Ibushi. So, I don't think Jay White's going to play a factor.
Yeah, I think he will get his crowning Wrestle Kingdom moment, but I suspect it will be as a babyface. But again, who knows when that's going to come? He's very young, still got time on his side. Bullet Club is Bullet Club, no faces. Chaos is fading as the number 1. So do you see LIJ as the new number 1 faces with Suzuki-gun taking their place as the new neutral faction? Is it possible that Empire wins the Never Tag Belts on night 2 on an attempt to say fuck Chaos and LIJ during the New Beginning Tour as a way to put them over with feud against 2 established factions? I do think a faction reshuffle is coming. I think Chaos are not long for this world. I think LIJ are the number 1 face team. I don't know if I'd say Suzuki-gun are true neutrals. I think they are flexible. They are heelish. They cheat. They do heelish stuff, but they're sort of lovable rogues at this point. A bit like LIJ used to be, I suppose. And I think the Empire are going to be the next sort of dominant heel faction, but heels that don't do run-ins. I hope. I don't want 2 factions doing it. Let's just stick with Bullet Club. But yeah, I think Chaos could be in trouble going forward.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Of all the factions, Chaos looks like it's the one that is easier to disband and shuffle around. Bullet Club could be that cheating heel faction. Empire being a heel faction, and again, hopefully not cheating. Because, the last thing we need is a double dose of that. And Suzuki-gun, again, I don't know. I mean, I hate factions to begin with, but I understand the relevancy. I mean, would you have a problem if Suzuki-gun just went bye-bye?
I love Suzuki-gun. They've been great this year. They've been
great. They've been great, but I'm just saying, would you have a problem with it being disbanded? You would shed a tear if they.
I would be really upset. They're my favorite faction.
All right, listen, don't get upset. They're not going anywhere. I'm just asking. Would you be upset if LIJ broke up?
Not as much as I would be over Suzuki-gun, but I don't think they will break up. I don't think they should break up. I think there's a good camaraderie between the 5 of them.
Okay. Somebody's going to disband. It's Chaos.
Chaos, yeah. By Chaos. Right. Get in the bin.
All right.
All right. Teja says, can you guys explain what you think of the Forrest Soa video, if you guys have seen it? He made some good points, but I think it's a stretch for him to say New Japan isn't good. Thanks. Look, Forrest is a friend of mine. I think he puts a lot of effort into the videos that he does, and they're really well made. He's a genuine fan. I think very sort of thoughtful, heartfelt opinions. So I don't think any of it is done in bad faith. I think this is all stuff from the heart. So he means it and he works hard on it. So I respect that. But I disagree with a lot of the stuff he says. A lot of the things that he holds up as flaws in New Japan are things that I personally don't think are flaws. So, of course, coming out with a statement like New Japan isn't good anymore, that's a deeply subjective statement that I'm not sure how valuable it is to say something like that, because other people are going to have their own metrics about what isn't good. So, I disagree with the premise of the video. I think there's definitely things that I think New Japan have flaws. I think things that they could and should improve, but I still love the product. I still enjoy watching it every week. I love the big shows. I love the majority of the matches. So to me, it's still great. I love New Japan. Samuel asks, is having Tenzan in his corner now more a hindrance to Wato, and would having Way to the Grandmaster as an above-named title to Hiroki Wato deflect a portion of the dorkery aimed at him? So I do think that having Tenzan as sort of like the overprotective dad thing, I don't think it's helping personally.
Yeah. It just makes him feel like a guy who needs help, right? And needs, like, everybody can see through it, right? That the legend needs to give him the rub. Look, I really feel like we can press pause on Master Wato and just let's rethink this. Have him get hurt, right? Have him get injured. Have him, somebody attack him and put him out and put him on the shelf. Just so we can we can rinse our mouths of what we have right now and have him come back as something different. It's pro wrestling. You can do it. Trust me, it's okay. That's what I would do right now.
Trish says, do you think they've held back on bigger matches for this year's show due to COVID uncertainty, changing situation in Japan?
Hard to say. I mean, logic would dictate that they would, right? In the sense of, why would they give away the Golden Goose without getting paid for the Golden Goose? I made that up, by the way. Again, that makes sense. I just find it hard to believe that, like, nobody could predicted what this year was. Nobody could have predicted that us sitting at New Year fucking Dash or the Dome, that we would be sitting here now on December 22nd, wondering when anything comes back and really feeling like we're no better off, right? We're going into 2021, and I don't know if I feel better off. We have a vaccine, but we still have shutdowns and lockdowns and people depressed and businesses being, everything that I was in tears over in the beginning of this fucking year. Well, guess what? We're right here again. So I don't know if they purposely held back. I can't answer that. Logic would think that they might be, but in another way, you don't know what's ahead of you, so why not just go for what you got? You know what I mean? Just go for what you have already written down and move forward. I know people try to convince me, and it's hard to do sometimes, that Evil wasn't a reaction to 2020. I know people are, that this was in the books already, and I don't know. I just find it maybe I'm just a dope, but I just find 2020 to be so weird that why not give Evil a shot?
Sid says, what direction should New Japan go after Wrestle Kingdom, regardless of who wins the cheap gold dash? Like, who's going to
in the bin?
Main event, new beginning, etc. So who will be the next in line for titles? So, Damon, if we're handing the book to you, how do you book the heavyweight title scene? So who would come out of Wrestle Kingdom holding the gold, and how does it play out for the first half of 2021?
You know who needs strong, decisive wins? Even now, it's not Kota Ibushi. It's Naito. Naito needs to win both these matches, right? Because I need him to get some really fucking great moments in that dome, aside from chasing and losing and chasing and finally winning. Like, I want him to be dominant. That's one thing I don't think Naito is a dominant champion. He always feels like he's one fucking banana peel away from losing these titles. Very vulnerable. Vulnerable is a great word for me to describe Naito and his championships. I want him to go in there and beat both those fucking guys. I want him to pin him definitively. I want him to get I want him to walk out of there with everyone looking at him and saying, okay, that's the fucking champion. That's the top dog in the promotion. And then we work from there. That's what I want to see in 2021, is the idea of Naito being a champion that is on the same level as others in this company. And I don't feel like that is the case. I feel like he is popular. I feel like people love him. I feel like he is a top dog. I don't feel like with that belt, you're talking about him in the same breath as you would other people who have held that title.
So who would you have as the guy to beat Naito, and how long would you leave it for? Because the name that's popping into my mind is Will Ospreay.
That's the name, but let's wait a while for that. You know what I mean? I want to have a problem with Will Ospreay winning G1. That's how deep I want this to go, right? I want Naito to be. Listen, when we were talking about the greatness of New Japan Pro Wrestling, we were usually talking about Okada being a dominant champion and people chasing that dominant champion, right? That was the foundation for the greatness of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's what I kind of want here. I want Naito to be revered. He's not going to go on a fucking 17 win streak or anything like that. But I want him to beat some guys definitively, starting at the Dome. I want Will Ospreay to win G1, and then I want Naito Will Ospreay at the Dome. How's that?
I like it, and that's a big match that we haven't had yet, Naito against Ospreay. So
correct.
I think it does feel like they're saving that for something. Okay, Louis says, what predictions came true this year that you guys made? I remember Damon saying in 2019 that Yoshi would get a belt in 2020. I can't remember any predictions that I made. Oh, God. This is one of the beauties of doing this podcast, that we can make wild predictions. No one ever holds us accountable for them.
Yeah. I mean, why would we start doing that? That's terrible. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember any of them. You'd have to go back and listen to last year's show around this time and see how many I got right and see how many I got wrong. I don't know. I mean, it's been such a fucking crazy year. I can't imagine me getting many of them right. That's for sure.
Okay, Nick says, Yano pinned Okada in 2020 to win a title. What's the craziest sentence we'll be able to say at the end of 2021 for New Japan? So, okay, now let's make some crazy predictions. Come on, a wacky prediction for 2021.
All right, I'll give you one. I'm going to give you want wacky? I'm going to give you wacky. New Japan Pro Wrestling has the show at Madison Square Garden actually happens, and it sells out. How's that for wacky?
That is a very bold prediction.
Because I think I'm going 0 for 2 for that one.
I suppose I need to do one as well. Okay.
Come on.
I'm thinking Forbidden Door, Damon.
Oh, come on. Let's hear it. You think the door is open? Somebody's kicking?
Just for the spiciness of it, even if I don't believe it to be the case. Which I guess is against the spirit of making these predictions.
What are you trying to say is a check clears?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Check clear? If certain reparations are made, then Wrestle Kingdom 16 main event, IWGP Heavyweight Champion
Go ahead.
Kota Ibushi against AEW Champion Kenneth Omega. There you go.
Wow.
There's your spicy prediction.
Woo! The check cleared. Woo! All right. I mean, how else do we top that? Huh? How else do we top that?
I've probably annoyed so many people by throwing that out there. And that's what I'm going for. That's what I do. It's just low effort trolling now. Okay, let's do one last question from Booze. He says, question for Sports Reporter Damon. Why is the Sixers' new management trying to fuck around and find out? Did they learn nothing from earlier this month?
Well, I don't. So, I mean, I don't think you care either way, Joel. But there's some pretty talented basketball players out there that are looking to leave their current home and possibly land in Philly, but it would wind up disrupting. It's a star, but you're going to have to trade something of value to get the star. And the star is really, never won a championship or anything like that, but it's a star who apparently likes strip clubs a lot. I I say they're not going to make that deal. So if you're a Sixers fan, you don't have to worry about that. I don't think they get the James Harden. I don't think that's happening. But I've been wrong before, but I can't imagine that happening.
All right, well, let's wrap it up for this week then. So make sure, again, you get to get in your votes for the year-end awards. Link to that is pinned to the Twitter page, redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast. Perfect time of year if you want to give us some money as a Christmas present for all the wonderful podcasts we give to you. Discord link is in the show notes if you want to join that. At Cobra Kawaii and prowrestlingtees.com/superjcast if you want to get one of our great t-shirts. I'm wearing my Scampy Club t-shirt now, and it's great. It's comfortable. It's high quality. I love it. So definitely check out Cobra Kawaii. That's with Cobra with a K and 2 I's at the end of Kawaii. Massive thanks as always to Editor Dan. You can find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. And also throw a vote to Escape the Box for Best UK Bands. I've retweeted that poll. Dan has as well. So if you want to show some love to Editor Dan, that would be a great way to do it. To vote for Escape the Box for Best UK Band. You can subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows, including our appearance on Wrestling Omakase. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the SuperJcast. Thank you everyone for listening, and goodbye.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! It's the most wonderful time of the year.